Heyo, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. In addition to that, I have a $1 channel membership, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider going that extra mile to support the channel. Thank you so much to all of my members. I think we have around 30 members now. So thank you to all 30 of you. It really does mean the world to me. And thank you so much to all of my subscribers. We have definitely had such a great time over this season of Love Island. And as I said, I really do like reading y'all's takes. Some of y'all be writing essays, and believe it or not, I do read through all of them sometimes. Sometimes I don't always see them, but if I see it and you write an essay and I'm not doing anything, I will read them. So please let me know your thoughts, write them down, write them as deep as you want. Please, I love reading them. I love reading everyone's takes. Trust and believe, I spend so long on TikTok during the week just reading through comments of different Love Island TikToks. So I genuinely find this show very entertaining to talk about, and I love how everybody has different viewpoints. So again, no hard feelings if we disagree. I want to make that clear again, because I think sometimes people get a little riled up in the comments, but it is no hard feelings. We are all just here in good fun, and trust and believe, if you are watching the content, I genuinely appreciate you. So thank you so much. Today, we are going to talk about the end of Casa Amor, Love Island, Season 7, Episode 22. And as I said, in my personal, this Casa was a bust. I think that I liked how they tried some different twists. I just wish it would have been with a cast where it felt more authentic. But let's jump into it. Let's get into the episode. So back in the villa, it is post Nick and Alandrea having that extremely awkward kiss in soul tie.
I'm going fucking crazy, but on the outside, I'm gonna smile through it. We're in a couple, we decided to explore, and that's just that. But
they're walking away from the whole thing. Olandria keeps talking about how Nick has chocolate all over his face and he claims he likes it. So they go back over to the full group, and Olandria is cold, so Nick gives her his shirt. Taylor comes over and gives a hug. It's overall just a very awkward situation, and again, I did not feel or see the chemistry there. I think there is a very strong difference between sexual attraction and interest versus actually being genuinely into someone, and I just don't get that vibe, especially on Olandria's end. And even for the people who claim that Nick does, I think Nick is very easily swayed by women, unless you're Clark. So JD and Huda, they talk about the kiss challenge, because remember, Huda was licking that man all up and down, licking his pickle or whatever.
Dominant.
Huh?
You
No,
like
I
being
think I had to
dominant.
lead your ass to help you.
No. You like being dominant.
I do, but I had to help.
So JD is on some like, I see that you like to be dominant. And she's like, what? And you could tell on Huda's face she's starting to get upset. He says, yeah, I can tell that you like to dominate. I know you like to be a leader, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't like to be dominated. It's not really my thing. Huda's like, okay, I'm just gonna walk away because I'm not really feeling this. And this essentially is definitely the end of their pairing. You could definitely tell that it was one of those things where JD was like, oh, this ain't for me. And you could tell Huda, she tried everything in her power not to go off. So effective immediately, Huda is gonna make her way over to Chris quite a little bit later. Coco and Ace are talking back at the villa. And they get into being the jealous type. Coco's asking if Ace is the jealous type, and he says he's not. He's just overprotective when he's really interested. So she's like, that's giving jealous. Overall, once again, there is definitely a little bit of chemistry here. In my personal opinion, I didn't feel like Ace was going to jump ship over to Coco. Coco is beautiful, but I feel like with Ace is calculated, and I think that being with Coco is not going to play into the plan that Ace has, in my personal opinion. So it wasn't really giving that he was going to stick with Coco, but I do think that they had good banter and there was definitely attraction there. Ace does even say later that Coco is his type to a T on paper, but he built so much with Shelly. So Anyway, Grayson and Pepe, we see those two for the first time since Casa. I literally did not even know the girl's name. So bedtime comes around and Huda is very upset at JD. She claims that it took everything in her not to go off on him, not to crash out, but she claims that all of the girls would be very proud. And I was like, oh boy, we are just a few minutes away. We are just waiting and waiting, counting down the days until the next ticking time bomb goes off with Huda. But anyway, Coco, once again, Ace is talking about how Coco is his type on paper, but he still wants to build with Shelly. And Olandria, she happens to awkwardly walk in while Taylor and Clark are sharing a kiss on the bed. But nighty-night, let's wake up and get to the next morning. Morning time comes around, Shelly is debriefing with the girls, and she is talking about how she is quite torn between Chris and Ace. For her, she is really unsure of what Ace has been up to, but overall, again, with Ace and Shelly, it's just definitely giving that they want to gravitate back to each other, especially now that we know that Huda is going to go for Chris at this point. Taylor also decides that he is going to make Alandrea breakfast, which I thought was very interesting, considering the fact that you don't like her. So why did you even make her breakfast in the first place? But Nick and Alandrea, they have a chat.
So I really wanted to discover if there was like a romantic thing between us.
So Nick basically wants to gauge how they feel about the two of them being a couple. Alandrea is like, well, why do I have to go? You can go. So Nick basically explains what we all knew, except I'm gonna say the Delulu stands. I'm sorry. But we all knew that Nick says, look, it's real awkward to be in a couple. While I do think it was cool to kiss in challenges, once we realized outside of the challenge, that kiss we had, for me at least, I thought my mind was wandering. I didn't really feel that I was centered on you. There wasn't a spark there. Essentially, he says there was not a spark there in so many words. So for him, he does not see it going any further than that one kiss they had outside the challenge, which is so clear and so obvious. As I said before, what people show in this show is who they are. If Nick wanted to explore with Alandrea, if Nick had this secret crush on Alandrea and he wanted to be with her so bad, do y'all think he wouldn't have explored her? I'm just keeping it real. It's been 20 some odd days in the villa. And Nick's clear type is Sierra. He's like Jaden. He's like Andreina when she walked in. None of those girls look anything like Alandrea. And when he was paired up with Clark, he wasn't even feeling Clark, who's the closest thing to a black woman that he's been paired up. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that Nick doesn't like black women. I don't know what Nick's type is, but the clear point that I'm trying to make is that it's very clear that Nick has a type, and that type is not Olandrea. So anyways, Alandrea claims that it is the same thing for her. She claims that it was fun, but her mind was kind of in the same place. They both kind of just, shake hands, hug it out, and say it's not going to be further than that. It's not going to be a romantic connection. And for the Nick Alandrea stands, I'm so sorry, but Nick Alandrea was never going to be a real thing, as evidenced here by Nick. So Amaya and Zach K have a conversation over in the Casa Amor, and Amaya says that although JD does bring her up breakfast, she still feels like she vibes with Zach more. Zach doesn't get intimidated by other guys, and that's all very attractive for Amaya. Zach completely understands. Obviously, there's going to be multiple people making an effort, and for him, he feels like he has to also continue to do the same. For Zach, he does not want to push things too fast. He does like the pace that he's going at with Amaya, and he feels that if you go a little bit faster, it's going to put cracks into the foundation. I totally agree. I can't get quite a read yet on if Zach likes Amaya or not. I feel like I'm leaning towards the fact that I think he thinks she's a little bit too much based off of her usual reactions. He'll be like, relax, like, it's okay, calm down. It's okay, calm down. But I really don't know, and I feel like we'll have to see as the rest of the show goes on where that goes. So Jaden and Austin, they have conversations about their life. They talk about medical conditions. Apparently, Austin had valves in his heart that were too small, so he had to get them opened up when he was 4. Jaden is a type 1 diabetic, so he does ask some questions about how many times she's passed out, how did she find out. Overall, for Austin, he says that he loves being able to just talk about their lives and talk about who they are. And again, you can definitely tell that this is a match. This is definitely what Austin is attracted to. And I don't know why, for some reason, it was triggering to people when I said Austin was not interested in the two other girls that he was with. For some of y'all, I don't know why, y'all got very offended when it is very clear by the way that Austin moves, the amount of questions he's asking. We never saw Austin ask Amaya or Shelly a question about their lives like that. We really didn't. And I'm not saying that either one of them asked him that much either. It wasn't a match on either side, but this is definitely Austin's true pairing, Jaden. Whether it will go far or not, who knows, but you could definitely tell that the attraction and the chemistry and the banter is there. So Chris and Huda talk. Chris has been wanting to talk to Huda the whole time. They get into a conversation about various little things in life. For Huda, she says she does love Shelly. However, she does want to still get a chance to try to talk to Chris. Overall, Chris does like Huda. He thinks that she's witty, she's funny. There's definitely some banter here, but Shelly is his number one still. So we go back to the villa, and Olandria and Clark are finally having the conversation.
Obviously, I respect you, but it's like I don't want to do myself a disservice by not exploring like Taylor.
Yeah.
So Clark starts off talking about how awkward it is that both of their strongest connection is the same. However, she would definitely be doing a disservice to herself by not getting to know Taylor. She does really enjoy him. For Alandrea, and I was not feeling this girl, she's like, well, I understand that you guys had to go down the physical route first. Obviously, you know, me and Taylor had 20 days and you guys didn't really have that. So, I mean, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him for testing our connection. I'm proud of him for seeing if this is what it is, you know. Clark in the confessional is like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think the connection between me and Taylor is quite close, and it's not just a test to me. So Alandrea says, this is the true test for me and Taylor to Clark once again. And I'm like, Alandrea, girl. Come on. Look, I want to come with empathy towards Olandria because I feel like I've already been a bit hard on her about this whole thing. And the reality is I get it. I know what it's like to be a dark-skinned Black woman and to feel sometimes that rejection from certain people can really, really hurt. I do understand that. And I do understand for Olandria that on these shows in general, you know, it's not always easy being a dark-skinned Black woman and feeling like you're a catch, feeling like the person you want has that interest in you. It is hard to look at those things. I do wonder why she was not willing to be open to Jalen. To me, that is what throws me for the biggest curve because I feel like Jalen was everything she wanted. A Southern guy, he's a truck driver, he's just a home-style Southern guy, he's a gentleman, he was very nice. And she threw that all in the trash for Taylor. But I think to go to Clark and essentially be like, well, I know this is just a test, you know, you guys, I get it. It was giving Huda. It was giving Huda when she would talk to the girls, when she was with Jeremiah, and she felt like she was on top of the world. She felt like they were the strongest couple ever. I felt like a lot of Alandria's energy was giving that when she was talking to Clark. And it's like, Taylor hasn't shown that he likes you. I mean, for God's sake, Ace has to tell him what to do every step of the way. This man has never himself come up with a plan in his head to do something nice for you. So to me, it's like, wow, for Alandria to be so far down this rabbit hole, when do we get to a point where we realize it is Delulu, girl? It's Delulu. You've seen him gallivanting all around this villa. I mean, Alandria, you came back into the villa. This man jumped over you to go hug Taylor the other day when you popped back up in the villa. I just think sometimes we have to come to reality. And I get it. As I said, I do understand sometimes. It is really hard. But at the same time, we still got to have nuance. We still have to look at things realistically. When someone shows you who they are, believe it. Believe it. So Alandria then goes to talk to Taylor. She fills him in on kissing Nick and Soul Tie.
So shocked, but I commend her for pulling me because I had no plans of pulling her. I didn't care to.
Y'all kind of got
And Taylor's face looks horrified. He looks upset. He looks upset when she says, oh, but I wasn't feeling it that way. When she says she wasn't feeling it that way, Taylor looks so upset. He's like, oh, I really thought this was gonna be it. I really did. So she continues. She's like, you know, we don't really have, you know, We have way more time than you and Clark have. Remember that. We have way more time. Look at us two. We got 20 days. You know, you guys only have a few days. In the confessional, Olandria says that we all know that it's not going to last between Taylor and Clark, and that it's going to take one bad bee to rip Taylor away from her. I want us to love ourselves so bad. I really do, because this is a man that has not shown you anything. Olandria, do you remember you yourself told Taylor, hey, you could touch me. You could do a little more. Yeah, I'm a slow burn, but I'm okay with you holding my hand, cuddling me. Nothing. We've seen him put his jacket down for Clark to sit on. We've seen him going for the kiss, going for the hug with Clark. No prompting, no nothing. We've seen him make breakfast for Clark. No prompting, no nothing. Girl, that's just sad. So Clark then goes to fill in Grayson, and Clark's like, I don't know. I mean, Alandrea keeps saying this is a test for she and Taylor. This is a test. But for me, the feelings are very real. And again, the feelings are also real for Taylor. I'm gonna be honest. I want to see Alandrea win. I want to see Alandrea here. I have a feeling they're going to bring in a bombshell for her this week. I'm gonna need her to step it up, though. I'm gonna need her to step it up, because I want her in the villa. But realistically, if you're gonna be lost in the Taylor sauce, you're not gonna, like, what can we do? You gotta pair with someone, girl. And it ain't him. And what is it about him that has even given you something to be this attached to? That man barely opens his mouth when he talks to you. He mumbles out the words. Casa Amor has been the first time that I've heard Taylor speak audibly, where I've been like, oh, I actually understood every single word. He actually opens his mouth and uses the words. When he talks to you a lot, I really like you. Come on, girl. I know they're probably bringing a bombshell for you next week, and I'm gonna need her. I'm gonna need Olandria to finally get the message. I really do. So both villas get a text, and they find out that they will be returning to the villa today. All of them, they are going to be recoupling with the person that they want to be with. So Ace is talking about how Coco is his type on paper. She is confident. He really likes that, but he misses Shelly. Olandria is pleading to Taylor again. It's always been you. I've always liked you. It's been you since day one. I've never been on anyone else. I'm like, girl, stop begging for this man. Stop begging. When you get to the point where you need to beg a man, he does not like you. He does not want you. And I am sorry, because I know it hurts. That's the thing, is that I know it hurts. I know it hurts to watch. Whew. Taylor, you know, that photo booth picture that Olandria took, she kissed the back of it. We see her in the photo booth taking pictures and kissing them. Taylor gets it, and Ace is like, oh boy, you got a situation going on. And I'm like, yeah, Taylor, you sure do. So everyone returns to the villa. They're all sitting on the couches. We have the Casa Amor group there first. Ariana walks in, fills them in on everything, lets them know that yes, a boy was also dumped over here, as well as a girl. So they start to bring out all the couples. We go in order. We have Austin and Jaden come out. Then we have TJ and Vanna, Pepe and Grayson, Ace and Coco, Taylor and Clark. And then they realize, oh my God, Nick is missing. And Sierra starts sobbing, because she says it would have been hard for her to see Nick with someone else, but the fact that Nick is not even here in the first place is crazy. And then Ariana drops it on him. Oh, I forgot, I have one more couple. And then Nick and Olandria walk out, and it is fine. I was like, hey, if this is real, you would think Sierra would be like, what the heck? Like, what is this? There was absolutely zero reaction. Sierra, it felt like Sierra didn't even think this was real. Whatever, I'm gonna stop with that, because Yeah, but anyway, it was very, very weird. They are so excited. All of the girls run over to Olandria, except for Sierra, who runs over to Nick. Nick instantly grabs her and starts making out with her. And now we get into the recoupling. So they're all standing on these circles shaped in a giant heart with a big circle in the middle. And basically they have to write down who they want to couple up with. Then one person will be called to the front. If you and the person that wrote you down, you guys match, you are a pair. If you wrote down someone, but they don't come up for you, then you're single and you're vulnerable. Let's jump into it. First off, we have Austin. Obviously, Jaden goes up and they are a pair. Congratulations. Now we have Amaya. Amaya has Zach and JD who want to pair with her. But did you see how Zach wrote Amaya, by the way? He wrote Amaja, A-M-A-J-A, Amaja. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. But we find out that Amaya chose Zach.
We have a match. Congratulations, Amaya and Zach. That's my girl.
And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I thought she was gonna choose JD, so I'm a little bit, okay. So now we find out that JD is single and vulnerable. So Pepe and Grayson, they are a match. Andrea and Brian, they are a match. So we get to TJ. Both Iris and Vanna write down TJ. And I was like, Iris? We did not see Iris and Zach C. So maybe there was nothing there. We literally did not see any conversations with them, which leads me to think either it went really well or they found out there was no spark and there was nothing to show. But we find out that Zach C wrote Iris and he's also gonna have to sit down. And of course, TJ wrote Iris. So Vanna is also single. So Zach C and Vanna are single and TJ and Iris are now back together. Next up, we have Ace. He has Coco and Shelly. I knew he was gonna pick Shelly. It was just so obvious. And it is true, he does pick Shelly and they are a match again. And these two are so happy. We see them kissing. Y'all, I walked into a Love Island watch party last night because I was out with one of my girlfriends and I walked into a Love Island watch party by accident. And yo, when I tell you when Ace and Shelly kissed at the end of this episode, the whole lounge erupted. I was like, wow, y'all are feeling that on the outside. Like sometimes I feel like because I talk about this show with just like people I know and the internet, and I feel like there's a very certain skew that most of the content I have. So I was like, wow, a lot of y'all really like Ace and Shelly outside. So that was very interesting. Next up, we have Huda. So Chris chose her. It's a link, Huda and Chris. Sierra has Nick and Elan. And of course, she chooses Nick and Nick chose her. So right now, we are on to our last but not least, our question of the night, Taylor. So Alandrea and Clark walk up, and to me, this was very, very obvious. I don't think this was obviously obvious to the rest of the villa, Casa Amor, no one, but I think to us as viewers, it was quite obvious. Taylor wrote down that he wanted to be with Clark. And they are a match, and everyone is like, what the f?
Oh my God.
Taylor! It's a match.
Even like Ace was like, huh? Everyone is like, what the fuck? Amaya's like, Tay. Huda, you know, she's always real like, Taylor, why are you so easy? Everybody is going in. And I'm like, guys, we gotta let go of the fantasy. I understand it hurts. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a link. It wasn't a match. Taylor's not enough of a man, to be honest, and say that it wasn't a match for him with Olandria. He left things really fuzzy and open-ended and expected her to get the message. But at the end of the day, this should solidify that this is not it. I don't want to see Olandria going back to Taylor. I really don't. Because Taylor could tell everybody. Taylor told Ace, all the guys, I'm not feeling her. I'm not feeling the physical spark. He could never tell Olandria, though. Let me tell you. So Anyway, while everyone has their shock, Olandria, unfortunately, is also one of the people who is not safe. So now we have a deliberation going on to determine one girl and one boy to save. The Casa Amor crew, they are going to decide the girl, was it? Is that right? No, sorry. Casa Amor is deciding the boy, and then the villa is deciding the girl. So let's get into it. So Alandrea, you know, when Ariana is like, how do you feel about everything? Olandria is like, well, I feel like I put everything into this. I even asked Taylor, what more can I do? What more can I do? And I'm like, Olandria, that should be your answer. That should be your answer right there. The spark wasn't there for him. I feel bad for Olandria because she's a beautiful girl. It's just a sad situation to watch because it's kind of delulu. It's kind of delulu. But anyways, we get onto the deliberations and we actually get to see some of this deliberating. So basically,
also with Coco, I feel she deserves a chance to explore and get to know everybody throughout our whole entire connection. Not once did she.
Nick is like, okay, but what about Olandria? That's really messed up because no offense, Clark, but what if Taylor changes his mind in a few days? Then what? I was like, ooh. So Casa, they're talking and they basically feel like Elan. He went to pull every girl for a chat. He's put an effort in. So pretty clear there that they're going to choose Elan. So we get to Casa. They have Brian speak. I'm like, Brian, who we literally haven't heard the whole time. But Elan is saved by Casa, and you see Sierra's face, you see Nick's face, and I'm like, oh boy, is it going to continue? Now we get over to who the villa is saving, and of course they're saving Olandria.
Keep on chasing.
Alandrea.
There was no chance in heck that they were not going to save Olandria. Now, like I said, what this is likely going to mean is a bombshell is coming in for Olandria, or maybe she could talk to JD or somebody. I don't know, but she need to talk to somebody. Otherwise, we might see our girl going home. And I don't want to see our girl going home, but we might see her going home. I still think Alandrea is cooked, unfortunately. There's no connections, and she's not willing to be open to connections. So that's where we end the show. If you made it to this point in the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider joining the $1 membership. The join button is here. And if you haven't hit subscribe, please make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.